It's hard when you do things that are not easily commodifiable.
Yes,
And it's also tough commodifying things that we don't necessarily wish to commodify, but if we want our vocation to be a big part of our time and energy, there also has to way to to pay the bills.
Yes.
So this is something that I'm sure a lot of people in our shoes struggle with too, how to do that, to make that work. So
well, can I share with you?
Yes, please do.
Just it's a mantra that I started to work with, probably like in my early 20s. Because I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this all work? And, at the time, whatever, I was doing childcare and waiting tables and, all these things. But I knew, the calling is about this music and about the healing and about the circles, right? So I started working with a mantra that, it was probably suggested partially by Alice McDowell, but I reworded it, and I thought, if I'm doing what I'm called to do, I will be provided for. And
That's
I just
powerful.
kept saying,
Yeah.
if I'm doing what I'm called to do, and I thought, well, if I'm tuned into this, to a higher guiding force or an inner guiding force, whatever you want to call it, if I'm tuned into that and it's showing me this direction and there's positive intentions and it's about uplifting and empowering others and bringing people together, why would that force let me starve? So I was able to kind of come to if that's what the guidance is saying and I'm really tuned in, but step one is really tune in. What is the guidance asking of you? But if I'm doing what I'm called to do, I will be provided for. And I think it starts with a thought. Just the thought, get the brain around that. Examine, can you believe that? Can we buy into it? It makes sense. Why would this higher force be instructing us to do this thing if it was just going to let us crash and burn? It wants to sustain that positive work in the world.
Yeah.
So I definitely worked that mantra and kind of reworked my thoughts around it. Doesn't mean I still didn't have fears, and I did certainly have to take baby steps to build. I have had a private voice practice, and that's I do traditional voice lessons and I do more therapeutic style lessons, and it all, that's been a main business for many years for me as I started to branch beyond and go more into the work together. So I feel like baby steps, and oftentimes when we tune into that guidance, we're shown the next step only. You know what I mean? It's do this, make this phone call, call that person and interview that particular person, or, so it's the baby steps. But I think what I'm learning still is really the importance of tuning into that higher guidance and then believing, listening to the call, believing, taking the steps, and then again, asking for help. Looking to others that can kind of help support the vision and help ground the vision. That's been a big part of my work. I can have visions, but grounding the visions. And it takes a team, it takes community. And
well, it's also you've done your homework to think about your vocation and feel about your vocation and tune into a higher and plug into that vocation. But then you're not just some people would just start a community singing class and, not enough people showed up, I guess it's not meant to be. I mean, you've been logging years and years on this. So it's some people say, oh, wow, that's lucky that person gets to follow their vocation. It's no, the beauty of your vocation is you kind of plugging into something that is a little fire within.
Yes.
And you're feeding that kindling. And if I feed this kindling, I think it's going to work out for the betterment of myself and society.
Yes. And people... when your inner fire is lit, people sense that.
Being in your class, you sense that. The singing is great, and the community and the space is great, but you also exude a joy in that space. And to have a teacher mentor who is in a joyful space really sets a very powerful tone. So it just shows you there is a lot of force to plug into that vocation if we can make it work. That's why it's very exciting. And that's why the mentoring others along the vocation, if we could find more ways that people can follow their vocation with at least part of their week's time, it doesn't have to be a full-time job, even a few hours a week. If you're doing something that you're plugging your vocation and sharing that, it often is very powerful and good for the betterment of all.
Absolutely, yes.
And one more thing about your mantra. Say it one more time, the mantra.
If I'm doing what I'm called to do, I will be provided for.
It's very spiritually sound. It focuses on your intention and following through with good action, and then we'll see what happens. You do your work and you drop it in the stream of life, and It might be swallowed by a trout.
That's right. That's
or
right.
it might dump into the lake. Who knows? But just kind of keep on trusting that. It really is a true, there's a lot of faith to that.
Yeah, but I just believe it's the power of the mind. What we believe, what we envision. So if there's mental blocks, it's a I think I can instead of I think I can't. And so many of us have unconscious and conscious I think I can'ts going on in the mind.
Yeah.
So it's also working on that level of belief, and really being aligned.
Yeah, it's like if the intuition or the vocational call is a river, a lot of times we have a lot of dams in that river, and it's just not flowing. The mind can help us move those dams, so there's the best chance of that. And the mind can help us strategize, like how could I, because it's not just, we can't just feel the vocation. We gotta be strategic too,
Absolutely.
and how we can make it work.
That's where the thinking mind can serve.
Yeah, you gotta have a long-term vision too, so it can be something sustainable.
Yes.
But it seems like you're building something very sustainable, and it's very exciting, and it's really been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. We'll have to get you back on here again soon. There's a lot of great things we covered, and I'm very excited to share this interview with the podcast community.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me today.